Good afternoon and welcome to the April edition of 3Squares. We are so glad you are here. We were just talking about the fact that April showers bring May flowers. We'll talk a little bit more about that. And Susan, you can give us a tour of tulips. I am
Yep.
Charlie Arnott, CEO of the Center for Food Integrity and Look East, and we are thrilled to have you with us today. Our mission is to build trust in the food system, and I'm pleased once again to be joined by co-hosts Susan Schwally and Kevin Ryan.
And I'm Susan Schwally, 30 years of food and beverage market research. Right now, I'm a gun for hire. I'm writing reports. I'm doing sales stories, analysis. That's the latest.
There you go.
And I'm Kevin Ryan with Malachi Strategy and Research, helping CPG and retail companies at the front end of innovation and strategy.
Excellent. So April showers do bring Mayflowers. We were talking about the storms we experienced in Kansas City last night before we went on the air. Susan, how are the tulips?
Well, here's the update. Tulip time does not start officially for another week and a day. And according to my husband, they are peak on Tulip Lane. So we're a
Oh,
little concerned. We needed the weather to slow down. We'll
Mm,
see.
mm.
like
It's kind of
cherry
like
blossoms.
I was going to say, it's just like cherry blossoms, of
Yeah.
Yeah,
If
course,
they
where
miss
like,
if they miss the window, the tours go, and there's like where the cherry.
yeah,
Well, they didn't coordinate with your tour, so they
right.
just responded to
But
weather.
they do plant early and late blooming, so
Hmm,
it won't be a total bust.
yeah.
good, good.
I've seen
Uh,
data that shows like the Japanese have been tracking when cherry blossoms have bloomed for the last like 250 years, and they're like very good at the data, like how
Ooh.
close it is. So anyway.
Good for them. Good for them. All right. Today we are going to spend another edition talking about Kevin's great work, food stuff that you will find on Substack. You can find Kevin there. And really, really outstanding piece as always. So if you're not following Kevin on Substack, you should. On condiments and condiments as the new cereal. And I've never had condiments for breakfast.
Ooh.
So perhaps I should consider that.
You've never had hot sauce or ketchup or anything like that on
Not on
anything?
cereal.
Not on
Well, I've had it on
cereal.
eggs. I've had it
On
on eggs.
eggs, yeah, sure, right,
Of course.
exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
Excellent.
it's not associated with breakfast per se, although, they do show up at the AM time, I guess.
So I would not have thought of this as an analogy, or is it analogy or metaphor that we're looking at here? I think it's
Depends on
analogy,
how you
right?
word it.
It's
Yeah, I guess it could
Yeah.
be analogy,
analogy.
yeah.
Okay, so this is an analogy where you're saying that condiments are kind of analogous to cereal, which is an interesting supposition. So would you like to give us your thesis before we dig
Yes.
into the conversation?
Yeah, I mean, the more I thought about it, I mean, I spent many, many, many years in the cereal world. And so as I was looking at condiments, and there's just so much, like everything's a condiment. And the Unilever McCormick deal where McCormick gained, most of or all of Unilever's condiments business and just how much money they paid for that and everything. It's like, what's going on in condiments? So when I started looking at it, I started saying, oh, there's a lot of similarities. I mean, one is that they're both the result of societal changes that affect the household. I mean, before with cereal, it was moms were going out to the workforce, so they didn't have time to cook the oatmeal or whatever they were, going to ready to eat, and how condiments are kind of similar in the sense of the households changing, single person household, aging household, asynchronous schedules, all that kind of stuff. So what you need to have from a meal perspective is refrigerated entrees, frozen entrees, sandwiches, all that kind of stuff. It really is speaking to the household. Uh, a de-skilled, labor-intensive task in the sense of, like I said, making oatmeal and all that kind of stuff in the sense of making a meal, but now I'm going to make it even better. And then health really drove cereal. I mean, really, if you remember Kellogg and the sanitariums and all that
Mm.
kind of stuff, this, not that condiments began like that, but you're seeing like a lot of growth in condiments about no seed oils, and there's a lot of health things pushing there. And then the idea of like flavor is being the novelty aspect, the growth engine really of cereal was, now with more cinnamon or whatever. It was, it wasn't just plain flakes that did it, it was everything else. So you put all that together, and that's like the societal and marketplace thing. And then I started looking at where cereal was, and their arc basically. And if you look at the arc of cereal basically had four parts to their arc. They had the consolidation phase, the extraction phase, the defense phase, and then finally the collapse phase, which is what we're in now. Consolidation was let's just have like for them three, General Mills, Kellogg, and Post, pull all of the market together, and then extraction. They had like about 30 years. They just
Hmm.
extracted almost about 60% margin and just built a
Mhm.
huge empire from that. And then, then defense stage, which is, Trader Joe's and Walmart and Kroger and all
Private
that kind of
label.
stuff.
Right.
But the idea being is that I think that condiments, number one, from a societal marketplace, very similar, but then also going through a similar phase when it comes to their arc. But I think they're in the consolidation phase right at the beginning. But we're in a different world. So, we can talk about all the different pressures and stresses and all that kind of stuff. But that was my
Yeah.
thesis. That was my
I
thesis.
like it. I like it. I found it very, very interesting. And, um, thinking about the fact that condiments are in the same expansionary moment, but I particularly liked your Mark Twain quote, history doesn't repeat itself, but sometimes it rhymes.
That's
Oh,
correct.
yes.
And so there are enough similarities here to make it very interesting. As you talked about the consolidation phase, I'm really interested in the health component of that because, from my perspective, most condiments are salt and sugar
Yes.
in different combinations.
And that's the concern is that, as I think I even put in the piece about how, breakfast has always had or cereal's always had a health halo because where it started. And then the worry about sugar, the worry about that it's all just carbs kind of creeped in and it became, oh, wait a minute, what about this? There is a potential worry with condiments is that it's all sugar, fat, salt, whatever it may be. So that is a worry for condiments. And so I think that for those that are interested in it, they have to get ahead of that.
Yeah. I never thought Captain Crunch with crunch berries were healthy. So I'm just putting that on
It's
the
got
table right
berries.
now. It's got berries. It's got berries. Here you go.
Think what's interesting about condiments and makes it different from cereal is that it's a like you said, it's an enabler of flavor. It's not the end
Yeah.
dish in and of itself,
Right.
right? Like
Right. Right.
Mm,
cereal is. Like I
Yeah.
think about soup a little bit like cereal,
Yeah.
right? A
Yeah.
mature category that enabled convenience but went by the wayside. Different
Yeah.
dynamics than
Right.
cereal, certainly, but it
Right.
kind of went through some of those phases. What I think maybe could be more sustainable about condiments is that we now have so many different foods and global flavors in our repertoire that has allowed that expansion, right? And
Right.
it seems somewhat limitless. I mean, I remember almost 30 years ago doing all kinds of analysis on mayonnaise.
Hmm.
Mayonnaise was dying.
Yeah.
It was because the sandwich was dying. These foods that, you talk about, all these different condiments can go on. It's kind of this unlimited environment and creativity. So
Yeah.
I see more flexibility and upside in condiments
Yeah.
potentially,
Yeah.
than kind of a stayed and true, end dish.
The
I wonder
thing
if
that,
there's also like the permission with condiments, going back to the health concept,
mm,
that you have with confectionery. People know it's an indulgence, right?
yeah.
This isn't the meal, right? This isn't the entree. I'm adding
Yeah.
a few tablespoons of X or Y,
What's it going
Right.
to do to me?
so I'm okay with it.
Yeah. I mean, the thing that really started my journey into this thesis was the idea of it's the transformation of a commodity into a value added thing. And that's what
Mhm.
the similarity is. So cereal takes corn and puffs it and then sells it for $6, right? I mean, it's an amazing transformation. Condiments are not selling the commodity, but they're transforming the commodity. So
Right.
it takes chicken breast and then you add barbecue sauce, and all of a sudden you didn't work that hard to get to a
Something better.
meal that you feel better about, to your point. So I think that is part of the mindset that I kind of go to. And Susan, exactly to your point, I think there's a lot of upside in the flavor. It's how they get there and can they own it, I think is the question, because you're seeing a lot of private label do a really interesting. I mean, how long do you have chili crisp available? I mean, yes, you can have the brand that everyone's talking about on TikTok, but is the Kroger brand just as good? I mean, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? It's like, how do you do that? So there's where I came in with the idea that are celebrities and influencers today's mascots?
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
think there's something to be said for that. And because that's the thing that makes me go, okay, I'm not just buying a condiment. I'm buying, David Chang's condiment or, Molly Baz's condiment or whoever it may be. I'm buying that or Chick-fil-A's sauce. So I
Mhm.
need something in order to link it. Otherwise, Kroger and Walmart are going to run all over it.
Yeah, I
You
think the
know,
other thing that I found interesting in terms of the distinction between the two and how the arcs are different is the barriers to entry for condiments are incredibly low,
Very low.
incredibly low.
Yes, very much so. Yeah, very much so. Yeah,
well,
anyone in the garage can do it.
yeah, that's what one of the comments I was going to ask your perspective on private label, right? Because I don't think they're going to chase every single fad and there's going to be like constant. So
Right.
there's
Yeah.
probably going to be a limit to what they chase. It'll probably be the bigger
Mhm.
ones, but
Yeah.
you're right. They're not going to have the cachet that someone might have
Hmm.
online, hawking this thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know how much they'll follow, but I don't think they'll be able to follow everything.
No, and I think that's the thing is that they're going to have to be more attuned to what it is that people want at that moment and be able to respond quicker. So you're seeing, the concept to shelf, as has been going on for the last 15, 20 years now, has been trying to get shorter and shorter. So they're going to have to do more of the, get to the flavor, limited time only flavor type things, but also how quickly they can acquire ones that actually do have the panache, that do have the cachet to be able to say, we're going to, continue. But also, I think, I don't think I put this in my post, but there is some technical moats that they could build. There is potential for that. I mean, there are potentially textures and flavors and things like that they may be able to get to. It's not serial, twin screw extrusion type
Right.
stuff, but there may
The other
be.
thing, yeah, the other thing that I think is interesting is so I'm going to use the Fairlife and Coca-Cola
Yeah,
story. I mean, Fairlife had a great product, but they didn't have distribution,
yeah,
right? And so the marriage between Fairlife and Coca-Cola was a match made in heaven for both of them.
yeah,
McCormick is a leader, right, in spices, and they've got shelf space. They
right.
understand how those products work. They understand where to place them. They understand how to manage the entire category. So does that give them a moat in some sense that
Yeah.
is going to be a little more that will help extend their extraction period?
Yeah,
In brick and mortar.
absolutely. Yeah. In brick and mortar. Yeah, exactly, Susan.
Mm,
But are we in brick and mortar world anymore? I mean, we're moving away from that. Yeah. I
Didn't
had
Stu,
someone, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, Susan.
sorry, didn't Steve tell us that there's tremendous overlap though between still brick and mortar and online shopping?
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah.
sorry, I interrupted you.
Someone commented on the post on Substack and was like the difference between cereal and condiments is, the real estate because you have a big box of cereal. And I thought that was a good point, but then I push back and I was like, well, but from a digital perspective, the real estate doesn't
It's
matter as
irrelevant.
much anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's becoming irrelevant. I mean, I think for cereal it was a big deal. I saw just this morning Kellogg's going back to putting premiums inside the box, potentially putting
Oh,
toys inside the
wow.
box again. Yeah,
Really?
So
yeah,
will the leprechaun be in the box of Lucky Charms?
that's Kellogg. That's General Mills. That's not General Mills.
Oh,
Yeah, I know. So yeah, but but the idea being is that I mean it's interesting from a digital perspective, but the other thing is too is that I mean McCormick has a lot of, to your point, Charlie, they have a lot of background in flavor blending and
right.
spice blending and all that stuff. So, and I think what's interesting about that is one thing I've heard from consumers when I've talked to them about condiments is they will go out of their way to buy a premium condiment
Yeah, yeah,
because you can ruin a lot of meals with a
yeah.
condiment and they don't want that. So you
Yeah.
you buy the better quality because you want to improve your chicken, plain chicken or plain rice or whatever it is you're putting it on.
So,
Yeah, I kind of have that same bias with spices, right? When I see the red topped bottle
Yep.
and I know it's McCormick, I have a greater sense of confidence that number one, it's going to be safe, and number two, it's going to be
Yep.
good, right? The
Yep.
quality is going to be excellent. I know it's right. So I'm willing to pay a bit more
Yeah.
because of the red top, because of what it represents to me.
Yeah.
mhm. So when is this going to impact refrigerator design? Because I already know my doors
Totally.
are packed and it's
Yes.
flowing over onto my shelves.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
my wife
how
is quite
long can you
disenchanted with the
keep a
number of
condiment?
barbecue sauces I have in the fridge.
You can keep condiments a long time. I mean, the thing is, most of them are vinegar based, and a lot
Yeah,
of them are vinegar
Mhm.
based.
yeah,
You keep them a long time. I think that Americans need to be better educated on the whole use
Fish sauce?
Best
yeah.
Buy versus,
Ridiculous.
How long
yeah.
is my fish sauce good, Kevin?
They have discovered fish sauce in like tombs that's still probably edible. It's mostly salt. Nothing is growing in
Right.
fish sauce. Nothing
Yeah.
is growing in
Well, with
And
fish
my
same thing
sauce.
in
willingness to
vinegar-based
eat
sauces. I
almost
mean, I can
everything
keep
on
those in the fridge
Also,
almost in perpetuity.
you tell me, you sniff the fish sauce and tell me if it's bad yet.
not, but
I
that's
have to
funny.
warn my wife before I open up that bottle. She's like, it smells like a bad aquarium. She likes it in certain things, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
yeah, it's
yeah.
it's
It
it's it's
does.
an
It's a bit
amazing.
malodorous.
Exactly. Yeah. But you're exactly right. And I think that's really interesting about the refrigerator design and about, you can get lost in the refrigerator, and all that.
Mhm.
I'm also waiting for when are we going to, like a lot of Europeans, get into condiments in tubes? Right now, they're all
Yeah.
in little
Mm,
bottles, condiments
Yeah,
in
see,
tubes.
I think that would be really appealing because I was thinking about, you noted Chick-fil-A, and I think one of the ways that people, I mean, we have a whole collection of Chick-fil-A sauces in our kitchen here because you get them in a bag, right? And so
Yes.
you
Yeah.
just keep them and store them, and that way
oh
you have
yeah.
enough for a sandwich
Yeah.
without having to open a bottle.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's brilliant from my perspective. And I mean, everybody does that in some form or fashion. But
Yeah.
is that an iteration where you could, instead of buying a bottle that sits in your refrigerator until somebody tells you get rid of that darn thing,
Yes.
and you pick up a six pack of little bite size,
Mhm.
Yeah.
serving size portions of condiment?
Well, and I mentioned that I think at the end of my post, I'm like, a lot of the condiment companies are still building condiments as though we
Mhm.
live in the 1950s. Like
Yeah,
it's like a
right.
household of five people, and it's like they go through. I mean, okay, it's like it makes sense from them from a unit perspective, but if we can rethink it, I think there is a lot of potential,
Mhm.
so that we're not just living in a world where we, have bigger and bigger um, shelves on our refrigerator door, to your point, Susan.
Yeah, mine might have moved in. I think between barbecue sauce and mustards, it's double digits in my
Yeah.
refrigerator. Yeah.
Yeah, that can't, and then how many of them get lost? And then
Yeah.
there's no more, you need like a cat man for your refrigerator.
Yes.
And that's the problem is that who's doing that job at your house
Right.
where you're like, oh, I'm just gonna reorganize it. And then things get lost. And then you're like, because really it's the seeing it in the fridge, seeing how much you have left in the fridge that reminds you, I got to pick that up for next time.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
far, our fridges are not smart enough yet. I know there's some on the
Mhm.
horizon, but we don't have enough yet.
So Kevin is we were talking. I think the one that I underlined twice and put a star next to was condiments are running cereal's arc at triple speed.
Yeah.
So speak to that a bit more if you would.
Well, I mean, it's not the world of cereal. So like the consolidation for cereal was 1945 to 1960 roughly. That was the moment in which they like pulled all the little guys together. They the three had their time, and then extraction was 30 years, 1960, 1985 roughly. That doesn't exist anymore. I mean, that
Right.
ability to hold the line away from any type of private label startups, the barrier to entries are not there, to the point of the conversation earlier. So it's like, how long can they hold that extraction? My view is 5, maybe 7 years. I think they can do it, to the points that we've talked about now, if they're smart about it. But I don't see 30 years. And I think that I'm sure McCormick's, got smart people. I'm sure that they did the same calculations of like, how long can we hold this and can we get our money back? And plus, they have to, right? So that's why I think, I was saying triple because it's like, okay, it's less than 10 years, that's for
Mhm.
sure. So,
And then it'll
Interesting.
be spun off or divided
or
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 it'll
maybe
just,
maybe they continue to innovate, right? I'm
yeah,
not.
that's what,
maybe.
I think smaller portion sizes. You
yes.
get the red capped small bottle of your favorite condiment,
Yeah.
and okay, I'm willing to pay $3 for that as opposed to $9 for the quart jar that I'm never going to use, that I'm never going to
Yeah.
consume, and gets thrown away.
Or what about this? What if they have a Keurig style condiment machine that sits in your house that
Oh
they
my
sell
God!
you? They sell you little, like they do with Freestyle. They sell you the concentrates, and then
Mm,
I mean, this already kind of exists in food service. They have like condiment type stuff. They could do that in a home. Why not? And that becomes lock-in,
Yeah, I
right?
love the idea of food service as the testing ground.
Yes.
for new flavors. I was thinking, okay, partner with Aramark, get it in college campuses across
Yep.
the country,
Yep.
and very quickly with that demographic. And then you do airline clubs for an entirely different demographic, and you
Absolutely.
find those key places, depending upon the consumer you're looking for, to begin to experiment with what is next and what is
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah. No, and that is the way it's going. I mean, I was actually going to write a post, I might write one next time about this idea of external, places like airline clubs and all that kind of stuff being the new venue that you have to get into. It used to be just small companies would try that. Now a lot of big companies are trying that. I saw Bulldog did they're like the ramen of Coachella now.
Mm,
And there's some big players that are really going into some more niche areas, but it's exactly to your point, Charlie. It's the idea that we need to be able to
yeah, to
get
test and
in and
learn.
experiment in those
Hmm.
locations.
As long as none
Interesting.
of it involves kale, I'm okay.
I'm sure there could
Right?
be,
Maybe there's
there
a
could,
sauce.
yeah,
It could be
sauce
a
on
kale
kale.
condiment, Charlie.
I
We
can't
just
imagine
gotta.
a condiment that would cover the flavor of kale.
It has to be, Kevin. I don't know what the would be, but it also would have to soften the kale.
A vinegar would
Yeah, yeah.
soften it. Yeah. If you massaged it and put this condiment
Charlie
on
doesn't want to
there,
massage it.
I know he doesn't. I know. I
I
just,
don't want to work that hard for a salad. I mean, give it to me chopped up. I don't want to have to massage it. If I'm going to massage something, it's going to be something of higher value that has some flavor. That's all I'm saying.
I don't, to be honest, I'm not I mean, if I had to eat my kale, it's usually not in a salad. I'm usually good at putting it in soup or in, cooking it up or something.
Charlie, you need to cook it.
You
I got to
do?
cook it. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you'll be pleased to know it's now time for everyone's favorite part of Three Squares, the quiz with Quizmaster Kevin Ryan.
All right. This time I was kind of warning Charlie and Susan ahead of time that this is slightly different in the sense of I got to change it up, because I think they do extra learning ahead of time just to kind of be ahead of
Don't.
it.
How could we do
Get
extra
it
learning? We have no
right.
idea what it's about, and your storytelling is so good, we're constantly confused.
Well, this month, because it's on my mind, it's about gardening. So
Oh,
it's food, but food based, but it's gardening. And we were actually
gardening.
just talking about like plants
Yep,
and
yep, yep.
everything ahead of time. So this is about gardening, which, and food adjacent type stuff, but gardening. All right. So keep that in mind, gardening. So
Gardening.
first question. The multi-billion-dollar bagged mulch industry was not created just to help gardens retain moisture. What was the original problem that bagged mulch solved? Was it A, in the 1970s, EPA ban on open air burning of industrial wood scraps and bark? So they had to put it in a bag, right? B, a massive surplus of redwood following the construction of the interstate highway system opened the door to a new market. Is it C, wood mulch had to replace plastic and rubber-based mulches at an industrial scale because they tested them and they found they were leaching petrochemicals into the groundwater? Or was it D, the invention of affordable shredder chipper, originally for use during the Vietnam War when they were clearing forest, then made its way into small scale mulching and made that possible? So why do we have the multi-billion-dollar bag mulch industry?
All right, Susan, you go first.
So
Uh,
I'll go back
um,
into it. Was it a ban on open air burning? Was it a surplus of redwood? Was it plastic and rubber? Was replacing plastic and rubber, or was it an invention of the shredder chipper?
I'm gonna go industrial burning.
Okay.
You're going with A?
A.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going with A as well.
You were both correct. Wow. Okay, that's a good
Charlie,
sign for this. Maybe you.
Knuckles, Knuckles. There we go.
Okay, yeah, it was. It was the
winning.
EPA band. Yeah, it was. They definitely had to find, and they found a really good way toward making money off that.
There
Okay,
you go.
number two, the legendary success of the Burpee Seed Company, right, was a direct result of what specific change in the U.S.? Okay, was it A, the Seed Distribution Program of 1893, which used congressional funds to buy seeds for constituents, and Burpee was the first one that was developed to kind of fund the seed distribution? Was it B, the introduction of the free rural delivery, or RFD, in 1896, which allowed companies to bypass local general store monopoly? Was it C, the 1912 Plant Quarantine Act, which effectively banned the import of competing European seeds and bulbs and forced consumers to buy domestic? Or was it D, the standardization of hardiness zones, which allowed catalog companies to guarantee regional success for the first time?
Mm, these are all very good.
Um, I'm going to go with the standardization of the hardy zones because I'll tell you why. I am a
Hmm.
nerd, as you know, and one of my favorite puzzles is all of these old antique seed labels, and there's no
Yeah.
burpee on there.
Mm,
So, and they're all from 18 da 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 da. So I'm thinking this hardiness thing is going to be more in the 1900s, and they came about then.
okay.
I'm
Charlie.
going to go free rural delivery.
Okay. Charlie is correct. It
Oh,
is the introduction of free rural RFD. So Burpee basically was the Amazon of the 19th century.
Hmm.
They basically won by logistics, by leveraging public infrastructure to kill basically local retail
well, they
through.
aren't on my puzzle.
Okay, well, yeah. I don't
So
know.
you both know I was recently on vacation in St. Lucia, and they use coconut shells and husks as
Mm,
mulch
yeah,
because
that's
that's what's available,
yeah. There's
and they
probably a
retain a lot of water.
they
That was the
probably
last question, Charlie. We've moved on.
know that
I'm
no.
slow. I'm a little slow. Give me a break. It's Friday.
All right,
Don't
so
worry.
far it's 2-1. Charlie's up.
In two more,
Okay.
he'll have a question. He'll have a thought about seeds. Three, unlike the standard corn that your grandparents grew, which turned to starch within hours of being picked, modern sweet corn stays sweet for weeks due to a specific change in its genetic makeup, specifically the SH2 gene variety. But what is the hidden cost of this genetic pivot? Is it A, the SH2 gene makes the corn kernel so fragile they can only be harvested by special harvesters, which raises the price by about 50%? Is it B, due to the sugars, they spoil much faster than regular corn and require special refrigeration of handling, which also raises the price? Is it C, sweet corn seeds are so sugary they struggle to absorb water, so to sprout them, they need pricey nursery pre-treatment called priming before they can be planted? Or is it D, the hull of the corn is less digestible than other corn, allowing it to survive the digestive tract more intact?
Okay, I, I'm confused. You're talking about sweet corn, like the
Yes.
stuff we eat, right?
Yep. Yep.
Like you can plant it in your garden without
Yep.
priming it or
Well,
Mm.
sometimes they have a yellow coating or orange or red coating on the seeds. If you've planted seed corn, it frequently has the red coating on the seeds.
Charlie, you can go first.
B, spoils faster.
Okay. Susan,
Fragile kernel?
what was that?
Fragile kernel?
Fragile kernel. Oh, A?
Fragile
Hmm.
harvest. Yeah.
Okay. No, it is C. It is priming. And I think you're right, Charlie. I think that coating that they have on there is the priming, or at least
Yeah.
is the beginning of the priming. So it is
Yep.
C. It is C. So I have not grown it myself. In
Sweet corn?
I have not grown it. I mean, I've lived behind sweet corn fields and all that kind of stuff, but I always know that you have to have more than one. You have to grow a little bit more than one because you need it to
Yeah,
pollinate,
pollinate.
right?
Well,
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
yeah.
can't just grow one stock.
Yeah, right,
Yeah,
exactly.
No,
and it would
no,
be
no, no.
lonely too.
Yeah,
It
That's
would be
me.
absolutely.
lonely. You don't want
My
that.
my issue is we have too many deer,
Mm,
and I'd
Oh
never see
yeah,
an ear.
right.
right. No, you wouldn't. No.
Yeah.
All right. Four. I think Charlie is still up. Four.
Yes.
The global gardening obsession with growing super hot peppers, such as the Carolina Reaper or the ghost pepper, was fueled by what industrial necessity? Was it A? Many of the varieties were bred specifically for the transdermal patch industry and cream industry to provide a cheaper, high concentration source of natural analgesics, pain relievers, for chronic joint inflammation. So that's why they were originally developed. Is it B? Global hot sauce conglomerates funded superhots and the creation of these superhots to create ultra concentrated mashes, allowing them to ship one drum basically of active heat across the ocean instead of 50 drums of the standard water heavy jalapeno puree.
Hmm.
Is it C? The capsaicin extraction industry funded the early breeding of high heat varieties to lower the industrial cost per gram of active irritant for pepper spray.
Mm.
It, Or is it D, the organic food industry funded the early research into extreme capsaicinoids as a natural edible biocide designed to protect stored grains from fungal rot and pest without the use of pesticides, herbicides, or fungicides? So is it A, transdermal patches, B, super hot concentrated, C, pepper spray industry, or D, for organic grains to get rid of pest or not use pesticides, herbicides, or fungicides?
I'm going to go with the transdermal patch.
Okay.
I'm going to go concentrate. It's either that or the biocide. I'm going to go concentrate.
Okay. It's actually the pepper spray industry.
No way.
Yeah. So those were developed in India specifically as used as a non-lethal form of
Crowd
irritant.
control.
Yeah. Crowd control and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of those really like the ghost peppers and things like that was directly because of that. So that's what those were originally developed for. All the rest of that, I think, came from that, but that was the original use of those original ones. Yeah.
Wow.
All right. Number 5. Most commercial potting soil sold in the big stores contains zero actual soil, silt, sand, or clay. Why is this soilless media
Contains no silt, sand, or
No, it
clay?
is like silt, sand,
Okay.
or clay. It doesn't
Okay,
contain.
so it's not soil, right? Yeah.
No. Why is this soilless media the industry standard? It's like, why do we have that soil or not lack of soil? Is it A, real soil is legally classified as hazardous waste if it contains local microbial life, making it illegal to ship across state lines? Is it B, real soil is too heavy and variable? So soilless mixes, which are like peat, perlite, and bark, are lightweight and bypass USDA soil movement laws. Is it C, the soilless movement was a result of the 1990 shortage of topsoil caused by the expansion of the Florida Everglades protection zones? Or is it D, soilless media allows companies to claim a patent pending formula, whereas soil is considered a public domain commodity?
D.
I'm going to go B. I'm going to go B.
Okay.
You're going D, Susan?
D.
D is in David. I'm going B as in boy.
Okay. Charlie is correct. Real soil is too heavy and variable. That is why we have soilless mixes.
Yeah. And then toss in some vermiculite, which weighs nothing.
Exactly. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. So it's like it is, I mean, if you've ever picked up a bag, I mean, I have bought real soil, which I'm sure you both have.
Yeah,
there's a noticeable difference.
Very
Small
heavy.
bag,
very heavy. For 2
very
cubic feet
heavy
of soil, it's really heavy.
Exactly. I mean, and there's uses for the soilless stuff that you can buy, but yes, it's very different. Although, Susan, I can definitely see how a patent pending would definitely be something that people would want as well.
Right?
So
On your own proprietary mix or your fertilizer or whatever.
Yes.
I think Miracle Grower is somebody else. I mean, they've either got the mix or they just simply put the brand on and it's the same stuff everybody else gets.
Exactly.
So
Charlie, you gotten your gardening start today?
Well, thank you. I have my tomato plants started in the basement. I have some of the rest of the things in the garden. The herbs are already there, so we're well on our way to a productive summer and more canning. So I'll send you pictures of my canning.
Pickles.
As always.
We can get the
Pickles,
Sauerkraut.
sauerkraut, all of the above.
I'm not in a hardiness zone that allows me to plant my garden yet. But did I mention the tulips?
You did mention
Yes.
the tulips, and I hope they survive until next weekend for the festival.
Yeah, the Holland, Michigan Tulip Festival for all our listeners.
The Holland, Michigan Tulip Festival.
Tulip time.
Get out
Tulip
your
time.
wooden shoes.
It's tulip time. Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Maybe not.
Vlogging will
Maybe not.
begin.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for the May edition of 3Squares. If you would like to reach out to us or connect, please send an email to 3squaresmail@gmail.com, the numeral 3, squaresmail@gmail.com. We will see you again in May, and may all your showers bring some flowers. Have a good weekend, everybody. Take care.